people hurt people. So that behavior is coming from somewhere.
If you don't know what a healthy relationship looks like, then how can I be in a healthy relationship?
That fear of losing them can feel worse than actually being hurt.
Well, I'm not little no more. So now I have power. So now I can do what my parents did to me.
Unless you have been in that situation, unless you literally have been in that toxic relationship, you cannot understand the psychological mind behind it. Hey, welcome to the Trigger Happy Hour, where we take shots of the truth straight with no chase.
It's your host that do the most, Jaquana Darnisha, and get ready as we dive deep, laugh loud, and unpack triggers you've been dodging.
Buckle up, y'all, because healing ain't always pretty,
but it's always real.
What's going on, y'all? It's your girl, Darnisha, licensed mental health counselor, mommy of two. I like to give it to y'all straight with no chase, but sometimes I gotta sweeten it up and put a little bit of sugar on the rim. But either way it go, y'all already know. I'm gonna give it to y'all 100 proof true.
What's going on? It's your boy, Daquan. I like to give it to you straight with no chase. Let's go ahead and flip that negative mindset into a positive energy, and let's go ahead and get that day popping.
All right, y'all. So before we dive into today's topic, we want to think about a movie. You know, typically we do a song, but today we're going to do a movie that best describes the mood that you're in. So I want y'all to think of a movie.
And don't forget to comment what y'all movie is, because we want to see those comments. And, you know,
a movie for me, Hustle and Flow, baby, because I'm constantly hustling. So yeah, hustle and flow. I like to go with the flow with things. I like to hustle. I like to keep it moving. So my movie choice is Hustle and Flow.
That's a good one. For right now, just for kicks and giggles, I'm going to say Holiday Heart. Just because, baby, right now it's a struggle. And we all remember when Wanda was going through that struggle of the crackhead phase. When she had that busted wig, baby, her skin was ashy. You know, she was looking wild and all off sides. Baby, and that's how I'm feeling right now. I'm just tired.
Tired. You're real holiday heartish.
Yes, Wanda.
Well, hopefully, you know, we can kind of shift that mood, shift that mindset a little bit so you're not feeling so crackish today. All right, but y'all already know, before we get into it, we have to remind y'all, this is not a substitution for therapy. We are a sounding board. This is a safe space. We like to create psychological safety for people and for one another. But at any moment you're feeling triggered or you're feeling as if this is too much, take a breath, take a break, do whatever it is that you need to do, because your psychological safety is of utmost importance to us. Yes, so, Daquan, let's get into it. What is today's topic?
Today's topic is going to be toxic relationships. Now, either been in one or witnessed somebody that we love being one. And let's go ahead and define what a toxic relationship is. A toxic relationship is one where repeated patterns consistently harm one or both partners, both mentally, emotionally, and physical well-being.
Right. So the key distinction here is one single harmful event does not equal a toxic relationship. Toxicity is about patterns, control, manipulation, gaslighting, chronic disrespect, cycles of hot and cold behavior, isolation, coercion. You start expecting chaos instead of calm, and it literally becomes your norm.
Yes. And baby, if love makes you feel like that, you got to check yourself. Baby, I don't want that. All
right. So why do people stay? That's the $1 million question. How many times have you known someone in a relationship like that and you're wondering, why don't you just leave? Well, I'm going to tell y'all, unless you have been in that situation, unless you literally have been in that toxic relationship, you cannot understand the psychological mind behind it. You just cannot, unless you have walked in those shoes. So we want to provide you guys with some psychoeducation on why people decide to stay in those relationships and what's happening within that mindset. So let's first start with attachment. Attachment styles play a huge role in people deciding to stay. So anxious attachment, it craves that closeness and it fears abandonment. It can keep someone in a toxic loop because there's the fear of losing someone, and that fear of losing them can feel worse than actually being hurt. Then there's avoidant attachment, which means this type of person pushes other people away. They may be emotionally unavailable and they trigger partners into chasing them. And then there's that disorganized attachment, which is trauma related. So at first, I want to be really, really close to you, and then I want to be withdrawn from you. Think of a slot machine. Sometimes they're kind, often they're not, but those rare moments of tenderness reinforce staying. So even though you own that slot machine and it's more negative than positive, those rare positive moments of hearing those coins come out that machine that make you want to stay at the slot machine even a little bit longer. That unpredictability, it actually strengthens the bond between two people. Even when it's bad for you, it still feels good.
Also, let's note gaslighting, the tactic of denying reality, like that didn't happen. You're too sensitive. Over time, it caused self doubt and erosions of trust in your own mind. And we all have had that. Somebody is always trying to constantly gaslight us. Even when they don't know that they're doing it, they're doing it.
Yes, I hate that. It's like some people are so good at it. You be like, "Wait, did that actually happen? Did I really say
Mhm.
that? Did I say it like that?" Cuz they really
Mhm.
have you thinking something that ain't even the truth.
And it makes you, like you said, it makes you feel like, am I tripping? Am I the one that said that? No, you have to, stay firm when somebody is trying to gaslight you.
Right, right. So
Uh,
what about those red flags? What are the red flags of a toxic relationship?
all right, let's do a quick checklist on the immediate red flags, okay? One, are you walking on eggshells? Have you ever had to walk on eggshells? Because baby, it's not a good thing to do when you always gotta constantly worry about what you say, what you do, you know? Another
Mhm.
thing, they dismiss or minimize your feelings. Now, baby, that's one thing that gets under my skin. Don't try to minimize or dismiss my feelings.
Mm.
Then there's jealousy, control disguised as love. I just want to protect you. Now, how many of us heard that? I just want to protect you. It's not because I'm jealous or anything, but I want to make sure that you're good. Then you have frequent threats, explicit or implied, about leaving you or harming themselves to control you. Ooh, that was a trigger for me.
Mhm.
I remember that also well. Then you also have the isolation from friends and family, and then repeated boundary violations after you said no.
Right. So I'm going to piggyback off of some of those red flags when they say you're constantly walking on eggshells. Like sometimes you pull in your driveway and you're afraid to get out of the car because you don't know what you're walking into. You don't know what mood that person is going to be in once you get inside that house, once you get inside that apartment. You're afraid to say certain things. You're afraid to express your opinion because you might say something offensive or you just don't know what's going on. And then when we say they dismiss or minimize your feelings, saying things to you like, well, you shouldn't feel like that. How you gonna tell me how I'm supposed to feel? You cannot tell me how I'm supposed to feel. Nobody can tell you what you should and should not feel like. Or when you tell you somebody how you feel about something, and then they be like, I mean, it's cool, it wasn't even that bad. Not to you, it may not have been, but to me it was. And then, like Daquan said, that jealousy and control disguised as love. Well, I just want to protect you. So there's a difference when you tell somebody, hey, just let me know when you made it home. Two, I need to talk to you the entire way you're driving there, and I need your location. And I understand having each other's location for a safety thing or whatever, but when that person is constantly checking to see where you at, then calling, well, why you stop there? What you doing? What you doing? Where you at? Like that's not love. That's not love. That's not protection. That is control. And then those frequent threats about, well, if you leave me, something gonna happen. Or how about this? Ain't nobody else gonna want you.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
what about when
Or
they say things like that?
or babe, let's not even don't forget, or they're gonna harm themselves.
Oh yes. If you leave
Baby,
me, then
that's the
I'm gonna do
ultimate one.
yes.
That is the
Yes. Yes.
ultimate thing that people don't understand. Words mean things. Words have
Mm-hmm.
power. And those
Right.
things like that are controlling people because now you're trying to tell me if I'm not comfortable in this situation, then you tell me that you're going to kill yourself if I decide to leave. Now I'm going to have that burden on me, even though it's not that person's burden, but they're going to feel like it's their burden. So those are the things that we have to look at. Again, immediate red flags.
Yes.
We're not going to be colorblind to the stuff.
Because when they do things like that and you decide, oh, well, if I walk away, then they're going to do something to harm themselves, you're basically saying your well being is better than mine. Because I'm willing
Hmm.
to stay in this relationship that's emotionally and mentally draining for me
Yeah.
just to appease you or just to make you happy. And then
Mhm.
again, though, that isolation from friends and family, when they try to turn you against everybody who loves you, or they start saying, "Don't nobody care about you but me,"
Mhm.
that's a sign. That's one of those red flags. And then
Yep.
repeated boundary violations after you said no, like no is no. No means no.
Yep.
I don't want you coercing me into doing anything. I don't want you begging. A no is a no.
And I don't understand why people don't a lot of people just don't like the word no. And that they gotta be okay with that because if somebody is telling them no, if you love that person, respect that person.
Yeah.
Without love, there's no respect.
Okay, so Daquan, what do you feel like is a red flag in a toxic relationship? What has a red flag been for you?
The biggest one for me was going to be the dismiss and minimize my feelings. I look at that, and if somebody is, it wasn't that serious. Don't worry about it. It ain't that serious. Your serious and my serious is two different series. You ain't gonna tell me that ain't, and you gonna minimize how I'm feeling. Let's not do that because I'm not that type of person. If I am in a relationship with somebody and they are telling me that I caused them harm or I did something to make them feel some type of way, why am I going to minimize how they feeling? If my
Right.
actions caused them to feel some type of way, I'm sorry. It was not meant to go that way. I do apologize. Now I know not to do that. And we can just leave it like that. But some people, I think, just like the confrontation or they don't like to be challenged. And I think that's the biggest thing for a lot of people is they don't like to be challenged because you have the people that think they're always right.
That's facts. I think for me, one that wasn't named that I feel happens in a toxic relationship is the need for competition. Like, why
Oh,
are you competing with me? We're supposed to be a team. So a win, if I have a small victory or a win, it's non-celebratory or it's a dry ass celebration. But when you win, I'm your number one cheerleader. I'm your number one fan. But or you always feel like you gotta one up me. I
mhm.
like that's toxic to me. Like we could achieve a whole lot more together than separately.
That is true. Now, if y'all want to have a friendly competition, like, babe, let's see who can do this first or that, then that's different. But when your partner is it ain't all that, but okay, congratulations, boo. No, baby.
Right.
If we in this together, baby, we both winning. So how about you celebrate me for getting this win for us?
So we want to use the example of Blueface and Christian Rock. I'm going to be honest, I didn't even know who these people were a couple of years ago. I just kept seeing the name all over the timeline and the news feed and social media and all that. And I had to Google it to see who they were. And then I realized that they weren't in the media for necessarily positive things, but their
Mhm.
relationship was widely publicized because of the toxic nature of it.
Yeah, yeah.
So, going into some of the things that they have posted and the nature of the relationship and everything going back and forth and how they get into it, then they're back together, then the tattoos are there, then the tattoos disappear, then the tattoos are there again. There's a lot of components to that.
What the public and what we all saw was the repeated cycles of the intense public fights, the dramatics, the social media posts, the emotional vitality, and on again, off again behavior. Now, for me, I got tired of hearing about Krishan and Blueface in the media because, as you stated, it was nothing, anything positive. It was always something in the negative. And we're not here to judge them. We're just showing you points that has been publicized and things that you can notice that's top tier of a toxic relationship.
And so there's two lessons that we can learn from this example. One is public drama is not equal to relationship health. The louder it is, the more it can mask real harm or unresolved trauma. Think about, I know we all have been nosy and you see two people going back and forth on social media or on Facebook and you messaging somebody, girl, you saw what such and such, you see, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So it's like the problem is not being resolved by taking it to social media. It's just becoming more louder. And this is the catch, though. The louder you make it and the more visible you make it, the harder it's going to be to contain because now everybody got an opinion about it. And it's just adding more and more and more and more trauma to the situation. And the second thing is when emotional vitality is entertainment, boundaries get blurred. Now it's like the conflict is now content. We getting
Mhm.
views. We what's the word? Trending. We trending
Yeah.
now. So it makes accountability harder and healing less likely because now you got so many opinions. You got your little minions throwing their opinions in there. Now it's hard for you to accept accountability because you got all these people cheering you on, like, no, you wasn't wrong. And so
Yeah.
healing now is less likely because it's too publicized.
Yeah. Is very publicized. To remind you, we are not diagnosing them. This is just what's been played out in the public. So, and this is the patterns that highlight toxicity signs listeners can relate to in their own lives. We're human, right? We don't want to envision ourselves as being in that situation. Maybe there is some similarities between me and Rashawn and Blueface in this
Yeah.
relationship because I'm so in it. I'm so used to being in it. I don't see the signs. I don't see none of those things because now it's become normal. I'm normalizing the chaos. I'm normalizing my anxiety going at 100%. I remember for me, before it would be time to go home around 3 o'clock every day, my anxiety shot straight up out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Throughout the whole day, I was good. But once 3 o'clock happened, I knew time was winding down and it was time for me to go home where things was not in the best of place at that time. Right. So I can definitely identify with that. And I was always wondering, what is this going on? That's anxiety. That's what that is. That knotted feeling that's in my gut. And I'm like, why is it? It's uncomfortable. I felt like I was walking on eggshells. And who's to say the other person didn't feel like they was walking on eggshells with me? But it was just the toxicity of it that became normal
At what point in your relationship did you start noticing that?
probably after I got out the hospital.
Okay.
Yeah. That's when it's funny. I was in the like we was in our master's program during that time.
Mhm.
But I didn't recognize the signs that I was going through with depression. I didn't recognize the signs of anxiety, of all those things, because again, I'm in it. And so I wasn't able to recognize it for myself. So after getting out and then speaking with a therapist to find out, oh, so that's what that is. That nodded, that's anxiety? Girl, shut up. I literally told her, girl, shut up. Really? No.
Shut
But
up.
yeah, you better shut up. But, that's when I recognized what that was, and that's when the therapist recommended, "Well, why don't you do this? How about instead of they come and pick you up, why don't you just take the, Metro home?"
Yeah,
I said, "Okay, I can do that." Still didn't help the anxiety though, but because it was still the feeling I still had to go home, and so it was that.
sometimes anxiety is from fear, a fear of something. So in your
Mhm.
case, the fear of going home. What was that fear?
Like I don't know what it was gonna be. Is it gonna be a good day? Is it gonna be are we gonna have an argument? Are we
Yeah,
gonna be okay? Or are we gonna find something to nitpick? Because again, I don't like conflict. So I did not like having those difficult conversations. My anxiety was sky high over the roof
yeah,
and not knowing. But now I'm going to have those difficult, conversations, even though I don't want to,
because they're necessary. Those conversations are necessary.
very much so.
All right. So I know for me, my first experience of a toxic relationship, I was a kid. I was 17 years old. I was in high school and I was a crash out. Like I literally was a crash out. I had two responses, the fight
Mm.
or the flight response. I was taught you don't like something a person doing, you either run away from it, i.e., a man, a boy, or you fight yourself out of it, right? So the stuff that I was doing when I was younger, I thought it was cute. I thought it was cute to be a crash out. All the fighting, all the arguing, all the getting cheated on and all the other stuff. I just thought it was cool. I'm like, well, he loved me. I love him. And I just thought that it was okay. But again, now that I'm older, I'm not interested. I put away those childish games. The type of guys I was interested before, that's I don't want nobody coming in my inbox as a woman or as a
Right.
man for that matter. Don't hop
Right.
in my inbox telling me about nobody. I'm too old for that. So
Not gossip.
if you got to choose between me and somebody else, choose somebody else. And I look back at it now and I'm like, it wasn't even worth it. It wasn't worth all the, I had zero emotional regulation. When I even remember my boyfriend telling me at the time, well, if you love me, you would do X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, that didn't have anything to do with love. But as I got older, I was in healthier relationships. So that when I got to another toxic relationship later on in my years, I was able to decipher this ain't what a relationship should look or feel like, because I had experienced healthy love. I had experienced a healthy relationship. So I was in it though, because I was too embarrassed to get out of it. And so sometimes we stay because of the embarrassment, or we stay because it's like we got something to prove either to ourselves or to somebody else who probably tried to tell us you shouldn't have been with that person, but you're like, no, I'm going to prove them wrong because this is what I wanted to do. And I'm standing 10 toes down on my decision. What happened throughout the relationship, I felt myself becoming something that I used to be. I found myself becoming a crash out again, making irrational decisions, saying things that weren't nice, they weren't kind, and they weren't necessary. I remember saying something in front of my son, in front of the person I was with, and it was so disrespectful. And I was apologetic to my son. I said what I said, and I meant what I said, considering that I felt that comfortable to say something that disrespectful to a man in front of my son told me everything that I needed to know about that relationship. And that was a determining factor for me. Like, yeah, you don't need to be in this relationship because it's not healthy.
It was something that you had mentioned as far as you felt like when you was in your relationships when you was younger, why did you feel that that was okay? That if he cheated on you and all that, he loved me, so it's okay. Why did you feel that? Was there something that you had witnessed growing up or something?
Not necessarily, I didn't necessarily witness it growing up, but the nature of our relationship, it was just like, this is a person that all the girls want to be with.
But
And he's publicly choosing me. So I got
uh,
to figure this thing out. So you feel special, but you ain't special.
you was the prize. That's or the you was his girl on his arm. Her to say with all the perks and stuff like that.
But I wasn't, girl. Nope, not even a little bit. And I accepted a lot of. I fought through it. Now it wasn't healthy. It just was not healthy, and it brought out a part of me that I didn't like, and I tried to keep suppressed. Because what happened was he chased me for damn near a whole year, only to because I really wasn't fooling with dudes in my class. I wasn't fooling with nobody. I always dated older guys, so it's like you chase me, then you get me, and you play me.
I mean, hey, you played in my face.
He played in
And
my face.
it was the fact it was the fact just like matter of fact, 2 can play that game. When Martin was chasing,
That is not to play that game. That's
I
a thin
mean,
line between love and hate.
a thin line between love and hate. You got it. That's why you here. You got my back, okay?
Andrew.
She understood. Listen, I'm like Barbara off of, Abbott Elementary, okay? I may get their names wrong,
Oh,
but
you
you got
get
it.
this wrong.
But you got exactly what I was talking about.
Right. He chased Brandy in that movie.
Yeah, and did.
So let's get into that though. Let's get into that because I feel like a lot of the conversation has been about the person that decides to stay. What about the person on the opposite end of it? Because typically hurt people hurt people. So that behavior is coming from somewhere. So why be controlling? Why be manipulative? Why be a gaslighter? Where does all that come from? What's the psychological mindset behind that?
I feel, and this is for me speaking, I feel that it stems off of childhood. It stems off of what they was raised. If they had somebody that was dismissing their feelings or a parent that was very controlling and didn't allow the child to have any say so, that's why you'll see bullies because they're not able to express themselves or they being bullied at home or being gaslighted at home. And
Mm-hmm.
again, this is just for what I think because a lot of our issues stem from childhood.
Yes.
Because if you don't know what a healthy relationship looks like, then how can I be in a healthy relationship if I don't know what it looks like? I can see maybe for that person, the people in the toxic relationship, maybe they see it as, well, this is all I'm going to get.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just going to make it worthwhile. So they don't value themselves because they didn't witness a healthy relationship growing up. They didn't see the two parents coexisting with each other, not arguing with each other in front of the kids, not being disrespectful in front of the kids. So if they are getting bossed around, gaslighted at home as a child, then naturally when you grow up, oh, I'm not little no more.
Mhm.
So now I have power. So now I can do what my parents did to me.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
that's why and that's how we develop bullies too.
Yeah, it's a cycle, and it's rooted in a combination of, like you said, personal history, unhealed trauma, learned behavior, and then those social and environmental factors and personality traits as well.
Yeah.
So if a child grow up seeing the yelling, the manipulating, the intimidation, and the hitting, they learn that those behaviors are normal. Because I remember in my relationship, the things he was doing, I'm like, that's not normal. But to him, it was.
Mhm.
And then
Mhm.
sometimes people think because our situation isn't extreme, because I might have grew up seeing my dad do the extreme, and I'm not doing that to you. So we're not that bad. But no, it's bad. It's bad
Mhm.
to me. It's not normal to me because I didn't grow up off survival. I grew up on love.
What is normal? Because what's your normal is not my normal.
Mm-hmm.
My normal life is not your normal life. My normal life is not compared to somebody that's rich. My normal life is not compared to somebody that has less than me.
Right.
But people, you also have to create a safe space for y'all to be able to talk freely. So, how did you find yourself exiting out of the relationship?
Well, I had mentally checked out like months before I actually decided to fully walk away. And again, I think the one point for me, or that defining moment for me, was when I said the disrespectful thing in front of my son to this person.
Mm.
And for me to be comfortable enough to do that, I'm like, okay, I can't, for one, I can't continue to expose my son to the toxicity. And then, in addition to that, my peace of mind is everything to me. And the
Mhm.
minute my peace becomes disrupted and I've worked so hard to get it, I can't rock with you. And I have made up in my mind, like, you know what, I'm just out. So I'm not gonna say that there was like a full blown plan. It was just kind of like a blow up. And then it was like it was done. Like that's it. There's no more coming back. There's no more I'm sorry's. There's no more nothing. You stay on this side, I stay on this side, and then whatever we need to come together to figure out, we'll do that. But I didn't
Yeah.
have an actual plan. But there is some practical steps people can take. But what about you? Did you have any plan when you decided to walk away?
I didn't really have a exit plan, but it was a situation that pushed me and made me jump out and say, you know what? Well, this is it. And then I think after I moved out the house is when I was starting to check out and started to kind of mourn the relationship.
Yeah.
Even when I tried, I had plenty of boundaries that kept getting overlooked or
Mm-hmm.
disrespected. So after a while, enough became enough. And that one fateful night when I left, that was all she wrote. That was the last time that that individual had to do anything like that to me. And I said, I'm gone. Baby, I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I got Mike and Ike, and I had my car. His name was Ray. He was named after my father. Rest in peace to both Rays. They gone. But I had them and I was set. One thing about me, I would figure something out.
Yeah.
I've moved to many a places with no family. And baby, I figured my way to live a good, decent life. Um, I also had support too.
Mm-hmm.
I did have a good support system for me to actually come and stay with them. If you are in any type of negative or toxic relationship, make sure that you have a solid foundation of networks around you that love and care about you.
Right. I want to get back to something you said, having the boundaries and a network of support. Also having that professional help. You was in therapy at the time.
Yeah.
And so have a clear understanding of what it is about this relationship that's making you feel bad. like a clear understanding. Clear language reduces gaslighting. If you have clear language, there's no way that somebody can convince you that this is not what's going on. So you want to name the pattern, write down those behaviors that make you feel bad. You want to have a safety plan in case there's any risk of physical harm. You want to have trusted contacts, a safe place to go. Make sure that somebody is aware of what's going on. Because I'm going to take it back to that. I used to document everything. I used to take pictures. I did all that, but I ain't tell nobody. I did not. Again, there was that embarrassment. I didn't let anybody know what was going on because it was too embarrassing for me. But I made sure I literally would take pictures and then email it to myself just in case my phone was looked at and I didn't want any like evidence in my phone. So I would do things like that. Also, do whatever it is that you have to do to make sure that you're safe and do what's in the best interest for you.
Yes. Yeah, I did not know those things, and we was talking very often during those years. During those years, because baby, it was one thing, I, and I gotta find out why I did that too, and I think I know why. But you notice I never put blame on that person. I always put blame on myself and what I could have done better in that situation to prevent X, Y, and Z.
Right.
That's something to unpack right there.
It is in another episode.
Episode, yeah,
I also had heard you say you were in treatment, but you was also in school and you were like, how can I be doing this or and I'm in the hospital. You have to give yourself some grace too, because just because we were in school for counseling or that we're counselors or whatever, that doesn't take away our humanity. That doesn't take away the fact that we have crash outs or we have breakdown moments or we're human too. And we have emotions just like everybody else. I've seen several therapists. And this right here for me, what me and you do on a weekly basis, this is therapeutic for me.
me
So
too.
show yourself some grace. And with that, when I heard you say that you used to blame yourself or question yourself, but again, that's a legit thing to do. Well, but instead of doing the coulda, shoulda, wouldas, I should have did this, I should have done that, you just have to reframe it. Well, what could I do differently if the situation presents itself? Because we can't do anything about what happened, but we can do everything about moving forward. And then again, okay, well, how can I prevent myself from being in a situation again where I ain't even got to do none of that? That's my thing.
Right.
If I even start feeling that emotion, that physical feeling that's remotely close to when I was in a toxic relationship, I'm out of there. I'm out of there. I'm not sitting around to figure out, was that really that feeling? Oh, no, it was that feeling. And I'm out of there.
Baby, it's ghosting for me.
Listen. So grace, that's what we're talking about. So, all right. And then we want to go to healing and rebuilding.
Yes, that good old healing and rebuilding. After leaving or changing patterns, healing works includes reparenting the inner critic, practice self-compassion exercise.
What does that look like? Self-compassion exercises. What does that look like?
Self-compassion exercises. For me, because I had to go through this. I had to do this. I did a lot of affirmations
Mm-hmm.
and I had them things written down on the wall. So every time when I woke up, I'm looking at those affirmations. I had goals as well, just trying to make sure I can get myself back into a space that I wanted to be. So writing down my goals and accomplishing them was helping me and build up my confidence when I didn't have none at all.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, doing my therapy, I was doing that, just trying to also heal that inner child that was needing some rebuilding. And that's why I'm in this good space right now with my good sister, my big sister,
And
is. And this allowed me to be in a much better space.
so we have reparenting the inner critic. That's what Daquan just explained with those practicing self-compassion. And then what's the next one?
Rebuilding identity.
All right. And so resuming hobbies, or if you don't have any, make some. Get to a painting set. Do some crafts. Do something. Set boundaries. Finances. You might have to, let's just say that person was the primary care provider. You might have to go to work. Reestablish some friendships. Get reacquainted, because remember, in those toxic relationships, sometimes they try to isolate you away from your friends. And you might have to humble yourself. Call them friends like, girl, you was right. I'm
Mm-hmm.
sorry for pushing you away, or I'm sorry I didn't listen to you, or whatever the case may be. Or how about this? Friend, I just need you to listen to me. Friend, I just need your support. I don't need no judgment. I just need a hug.
Yep. Yep. And if they are real friends, they would actually sit there and do that. Get those hobbies together, girl. Get
Hmm.
some knitting, some crocheting, some.
Oh, you know
Start a
me.
podcast.
I'm gonna hobby if I don't do nothing else. I'm gonna hobby till I
Okay.
can't hobby no more. I am the Hobby Lobby queen, honey.
Come on, Hobby Lobby.
All right, and then so we got reparenting the inner critic, we have rebuilding identity, and then there is therapy focus. Yes, go
Yeah.
find you a therapist, honey.
Please.
Talk to
There's
somebody.
many resources out there. Go ahead and talk to somebody. Talk to somebody that's not going to be a critic, that's not
Hmm.
going to be judging. You need an unbiased person. Like, yes, I know we have our friends, they can be there, but we all know our friends can be biased. So it's good for you to actually go talk to somebody, even if you feel like other people have bigger problems. Know your problem is just as big as anybody else's.
And it's not even just about communication, having somebody to talk to. It's literally about attachment repair, trauma
Yes.
processing that trauma that you went through, and then even learning communication skills. Cause you just might not have any. I know
Mhm.
me, I was more so aggressive with my communication style. I had to learn how to be assertive, right? It's okay because I'm gonna speak my speech. But I had to learn how to speak my speech in an assertive manner that was
Right.
not offensive when it came
Right.
out, or that did not appear to be aggressive or demanding. So
Right.
therapy is just more than somebody listening to you taking notes. No, you process that trauma. You repair some things, those internal things, and you learn to communicate. And
Mhm.
then have a relapse plan. So first and foremost, this is judgment free. You might go back
Mhm.
several times because it's up to you to know when you're done.
Yeah.
Nobody can make that decision for you. You have to have enough, and that's okay. It is okay. But have a relapse plan, have a strategy, have your supports, call a friend, commit to going to therapy. It is okay.
Now, understand when you do have good friends, they're going to be there for you. Trust and believe they're always going to be there for you. Your friends care and love you a lot, and they don't want you to keep going back to these individuals if they're not good for you. So I would say limited on how much negativity you're bringing to your friends about your relationship. I would say
Right.
that.
And that's facts because you probably can move on and forgive, but it's going to be a little bit harder for them to do that because you are their primary concern. I know, like, I've had situations where I had to learn to just back out of it because at the end of the day, I can't do for you what that man or woman can do for you.
Mhm.
You know, I can be your friend in one way, but intimately, it's something that that person is providing for you that I can't. But in a healthy friendship, we should be able to go to one another and say, "Hey, friend, this is making me uncomfortable," or "I don't really like this situation for you," because we should value one another's opinion as friends, but it's not up to you to take heed to what my opinion is. So we're gonna do a mini exercise with you guys today. I want you to think of one relationship that drains you and name one specific behavior that makes you feel small. Say out loud, or if you're stationary in a journal, write one sentence. I deserve blank. I want you to fill in that blank. I deserve blank. That sentence is a seed. I deserve blank. I want you guys to remember that. All right. So we're going to do a quick recap of today's episode. We know we threw a lot at you guys. Taquan, would you like to give an overview of the attachment styles that we talked about?
Yes. So the attachment styles that we mentioned was that anxious attachment, avoidant attachment, and disorganized attachment.
Yes, yes. Then we also talked about those red flags. We got walking on eggshells. They dismiss or minimize your feelings. There's
Right.
jealousy, plus control disguised as love, frequent threats, isolation from friends and family, and repeated boundary violations after you said into the O. We also talked about safety planning and how to move on from that toxic relationship. Including what things, Daquan?
Naming the patterns, creating a safety plan, boundaries, support networks. That's the one big key. Another big key is going to be professional help. And
Yes.
then next one is going to be that small exit.
Yes. And then we gave you some tools on how to heal and rebuild, reparenting that reparenting that inner critic, which includes practicing that self-compassion. Daquan talked about self-affirmations. Then we have rebuilding identity, resuming hobbies or creating some, setting boundaries, and then focusing on therapy for learning how to communicate or repairing that trauma or processing trauma. And then that relapse plan. Okay, what if you do go back? Okay, and all right, what are we going to do once we go back? Or what supports do we have in place?
Uh-huh.
All right, y'all. All right. So y'all already know what time it is. It is Q&A time.
It's time for the Q&A. 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 It's time.
All right. Daquan, what is today's Q&A question?
All right. Today's Q&A question comes from TT from Grand Rapids.
Hey, TT.
Hey,
Oh,
what's going on,
TT.
girl? I need that money.
I need that money.
The question is, how do you deal with somebody that has depression?
Okay, that's a good question. You want me to tackle it first?
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to be fully transparent. As a therapist, it's so easy for me to deal with people that I don't know, right? I could be open, I could be present, there are some tools. But when it came to somebody really, really close to me that had it, it's like I just wanted them to just snap out of it. And it was just really hard when that person is close to you. But what I had to learn is compassion and patience and understanding. And it's just like alcoholism, or when you have somebody struggling with an addiction, it's just not something they can snap out of it. You think they would continue to be depressed if they had the option to get up and be lively and to do things versus just wanting to lay in the bed or not wanting to bathe or not wanting to do anything? So you deal with a person that has depression by being understanding and supportive and patient and open and asking, well, what is it that you need? How can I help you? And so when you see that they're in a depressive state, hey, I'm finna pick you up. Get dressed. You walk in their house, you notice that things are everywhere. That's a great sign that somebody is in a depressive state. They haven't been able to wash the dishes. They haven't been able to do the laundry. Go over there, do a load. Hey, you want me to take the kids for you? Whatever you need me to do, but be present and be supportive for that person.
Yes, I 100% agree with you on that. I would definitely, you can always tell when somebody is going through a depressive state at that moment, like you stated, when it comes to their house and things like that. When I went back to go see my friends in Maryland, right? I walked in one of my best friend's house. I said, "Oh, friend, your depression is showing." And it was because literally, this is not his norm. And dealing with individuals that have depression, like you said, it's easier for me to deal with somebody that I don't know, that I can have all this compassion, I can have all these things for that person. But when it's somebody that I care for and I love, I want what's best for them and I want them to snap out of it real quick. But the only thing that I can do for them is just, like you said, be there, be compassionate. Listen, hear them out. And when they actually need something, just call them and do a friendly check-in. They're like, "Hey, friend, I'm just checking on you, seeing how you doing today. Just want and I, just thought about you." You don't know what that would do for that person. It may be little to you, but it could be everything for them.
All right, y'all. Our affirmation and action of the day. What you got for us?
So today's affirmation is going to be, I choose peace over worry.
I choose peace over worry.
That's good.
I like my peace more than I like my worry. So let me go ahead and stay over here. Hey, peace girl. Come here.
Hey.
We best of friends. Come over here because I don't worry. I don't know her.
Watching me walk away. The worry watching me walk away.
I hate you. I hate you so much. But I hope you ain't watching me walk. You get on my nerve. Oh my God.
What's the action?
Why? The action for today is be kind to yourself and give yourself some grace, girl. Because I know you can beat yourself up over even the littlest things. So just give yourself some grace and mercy.
So, all right, that concludes today's episode of the Trigger Happy Hour. We know we threw some gems at y'all. We just want y'all to know that we really appreciate y'all rocking with us every week. Your deeds don't go unnoticed. We see the downloads, we see the likes, we see the shares. We just appreciate everything that you guys have done. Remember, y'all can catch us on all platforms. And anything else you got, Daquan?
Other than subscribe, like, comment, and share with everybody else that can handle this heat. Okay?
Don't forget to drop y'all Q&A questions in the comments too. Peace.
And that's a wrap for this round of Trigger Happy Hour, where we take shots of the truth with no chaser. Just broad conversations where the shots are sharp and the takes are sharper, and nothing gets off the table. If you like what you heard, hit that follow button, leave a review, and tell someone who can handle the heat. Pull up a bar stool next week for more real talk. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Until then, stay bold, stay loud, and don't water it down. Cheers.